So let's just recap for a second, shall we? Harry's been battling the Home Office in the courts, demanding taxpayers, you and I, fund huge armed police teams for when he visits the UK. He's been...
Prince Harry is in absolute meltdown mode, and not the quiet, sulky kind. We're talking full-blown, gloves-off legal panic after royal biographer Tom Bower allegedly unleashed a hidden stash of secrets so dangerous they could blow the entire Sussex brand to pieces. This is the same Duke of Sussex who has spent years painting himself as the poor victim, cornered by the monarchy, bullied by the press, and misunderstood by the world. But now, that carefully crafted narrative could be ripped apart in one single brutal hit.
And of course, the 2022 bombshell, revenge, Meghan, Harry and the war between the Windsors. Tom, good evening, nice to see you. What do you make of this picture? I mean, I opened the Sun newspaper this morning, I just couldn't believe...
Bower's so-called insider tapes and bombshell documents aren't just juicy, they're being described by insiders as nuclear. We're talking contradictions, simmering grudges, and an off-camera Harry who looks nothing like the soft-spoken, wronged prince he and Meghan have been selling us. And here's the kicker. This is the man who once claimed he left royal life in search of peace and privacy. Yet his frantic scramble to muzzle Bower, that screams something else entirely. Fear.
There he is. But on the other hand, it does show that the litigation he brought against the Home Office was not really only about protection. He knew very well that he was...
According to people who've seen the behind-the-scenes chaos, Harry's reaction when Bower's project leaked wasn't calm or measured. It was volcanic. Forget a polite legal notice. He allegedly stormed into private conversations, barking ultimatums like, "Stay off my lane," and the now infamous, "Stop digging information about my children." Now sure, it could be the instinct of a protective father, but many say it looked a lot more like a man who's terrified, like someone hiding something he can't afford to see the light of day.
Is that he didn't have one of his bodyguards, who he pays a lot of money to go and find his friend. It just shows, really, that Harry's pretty incompetent above everything else.
Tom Bower isn't just some gossip columnist. This man is feared. His career is built on forensic digging, double-checking every source, producing receipts so airtight even elite lawyers can't poke holes in them. When Bower announces a book, it's not speculation. It's a loaded gun on the table. And this time, insiders claim he's going way beyond the public he said, she said battles. The whispers? He's tracking private timelines, undisclosed meetings, and gaps in Harry and Meghan's own public stories, and the kind that can't be brushed off as a misunderstanding.
Remains damaged by the early death of his mother, Diana. And he very foolishly blames the media for her, in his words, murdered her, which is complete nonsense. But I think he loved the adulation. He loved it when he was being praised, especially when he was a soldier. But then he became...
This includes the touchiest topics of all, their royal exit, their money deals, and yes, their children. For years, Harry and Meghan have wielded their protecting Archie and Lilibet line like a moral shield against press intrusion. But former friends and even one-time allies now say that shield is selective. When it's convenient for PR, the kids make a cameo. When it's not, total blackout. If Bower's book draws a straight line between that selective exposure and their multi-million-dollar media deals, it won't just be awkward, it'll blow up the trust that's kept the Sussex image afloat. And Meghan? Sources claim she's been hands-on with every piece of that image, controlling photos, interviews, and even little family anecdotes with precision. Supporters call it brand management. Critics? They call it manipulation.
Irrelevant. She comes along, she's a, somewhat well-known person, or at least that was his impression. And she's mixed race. She could elevate his star as well. It worked both ways.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, what I discovered...
It's the art of spinning a perfect tale, one that tugs at heartstrings but leaves no room for independent fact-checking. And if Bower's got internal emails, contracts, or whistleblower testimonies that challenge that image, the fallout will be massive. Not just embarrassment, we're talking the potential collapse of big money partnerships, speaking gigs, and media alliances. No wonder people close to Harry describe his anger as pure dread. And here's where it gets more explosive. Tom Bower is not the kind of man who folds when threatened. That "stay off my lane" warning? It's like waving a red flag in front of a charging bull. Every threat just makes him dig deeper. And with the manuscript already underway, every new lead, every slip of information is feeding his mission. If even a fraction of these whispers are true, Harry and Meghan could be staring down something they've never faced before. A story they can't spin, a critic they can't cancel, and a truth they can't bury. But we're only just getting started. Because what's coming next? It's not just palace drama, it's revelations that could rip apart Harry's image from the inside out. Bauer has allegedly tapped a web of sources far beyond palace courtiers. We're talking former staff from the Sussex household, entertainment insiders tied to their Netflix and Spotify contracts, and even people from Meghan's pre-royal Hollywood days, folks she once called friends but later cut off, and their portrait of the Sussexes, chilling. Everything is scripted, one insider supposedly told Bauer, even their authenticity. One of Bauer's most dangerous threads is said to be a revised timeline of their royal exit, proof perhaps that key decisions were made long before the events they claim forced them out. If that's true, their whole "we had no choice" story crumbles, and it wouldn't just embarrass them, it would undercut every TV interview, every speech, and even parts of Harry's own memoir. And that, for a man who's rebranded himself as the ultimate truth-teller, could be a death sentence for his reputation. Sure, his anger over protecting his kids could be genuine, but critics point out another angle. Those kids are their most powerful PR card. Bauer's digging reportedly covers everything from birth announcements to christenings and why certain details have been locked away while others were paraded for maximum media effect. If the book ties those decisions to financial or branding strategies, it risks one of the ugliest accusations possible, that Harry and Meghan have commodified their own children. If that accusation sticks, public sympathy could vanish overnight. Parents around the world might go from nodding in solidarity to feeling played. And in this media game, once you lose the moral high ground, you rarely get it back. In the wake of Bauer's announcement, insiders say Harry has been frantically exploring legal ways to block or at least water down what can be printed. But there's a big problem. Tom Bauer's research style is bulletproof. His sources are meticulously documented, his evidence is hard to dismiss, and he's been to court before against people with far more power than the Sussexes, and won. Trying to gag a man like that? It could be the biggest backfire of Harry's public life. The minute you try to silence him, you just draw a spotlight onto the very secrets you're desperate to keep buried. As one royal commentator sniped, "You can't threaten a man who's built his career on publishing what the powerful don't want you to know." And what's at stake here is not just another bad tabloid headline. This is the Sussex brand itself, the image they've spent 4 years building, the exiled truth-tellers, the victims of cold royal protocol, the champions of kindness and compassion. If Bauer dismantles that image and convinces the public that Harry and Meghan are really calculating operators, twisting facts, withholding truths, and bending stories for personal gain, the fallout could be catastrophic. We're talking canceled contracts, crumbling media deals, and the end of that lucrative global sympathy tour. For Harry, it's more than just humiliating. It's existential. Strip away the public's belief in his story, and there's nothing left to sell. Sources close to Bauer's manuscript claim that one of the most damning chapters zeroes in on a period before the Megxit bombshell went public, a time when Harry was allegedly in quiet talks with high-powered U.S. media executives. This was well before the supposed tipping point he's described in interviews. If proven, it destroys the Sussex fairy tale of being blindsided victims, shoved out by a cruel palace machine. Instead, it paints Harry as the architect of his own royal escape, a move carefully laid out while he was still playing the role of loyal prince. And perhaps the most dangerous element, for the very first time, a list of former palace staff, people Harry and Meghan once called allies, are reportedly breaking their silence. And they're not whispering, they're going on the record. These ex-insiders are said to detail manipulative press tactics, strategic leaks, and the cherry-picking of facts designed to damage senior royals while keeping the Sussex image squeaky clean. If even half of these accounts make it into print alongside hard evidence, Harry's betrayed by the firm narrative doesn't just wobble, it collapses in the middle of the street. One especially explosive section allegedly examines the money trail from their royal exit to their glittering U.S. life. Not just Netflix and Spotify, but carefully timed appearances, endorsements, and paid speeches. The implication? That controlling the narrative wasn't just about pride, it was about profit. And remember Harry's furious warning, "Stop digging information about my children"? Bauer has reportedly devoted an entire section to Archie and Lilibet, dissecting exactly why some family milestones were locked down in secrecy while others were orchestrated for maximum global attention. It's an ugly suggestion that while publicly condemning the press for intrusion, Harry and Meghan may have quietly used their children's privacy as a branding tool. And if Bauer backs this with documented timelines showing how these moments aligned with major deals or public campaigns, it could become the single most damaging allegation in the entire book. The final chapter, according to whispers, doesn't land with a cheap tabloid punch. It delivers a cold, calculated question. If Harry truly believes he's the victim, why does so much of the evidence suggest he's been the strategist all along? It's the kind of rhetorical gut punch that forces readers to reevaluate everything they've been told. It's not just about exposing secrets, it's about flipping the entire Sussex story on its head. And here's the harsh truth. If Harry's legal team can't stop this book before it hits shelves, his public image may never recover. For a man who's spent years fighting for control of his narrative, Bauer's work threatens to snatch that control away, permanently. And no amount of glossy interviews, staged photo ops, or emotional speeches may be enough to put it back together. Because once the public decides they've been sold a performance, the curtain doesn't just fall, it stays down.